Okay, what if I told you there was a single equation that could explain not just the universe, but the buildings we live in and even the very thoughts inside our heads? Today, we're diving into a framework that claims to do exactly that, Crippin's theory. It's a really bold attempt to find a single, measurable, universal rhythm for reality itself. So yeah, this is the central question the theory is asking. What if the same fundamental geometry that designs a sunflower, that structures an ancient pyramid, is also the operating system for your own mind? That's the kind of scale we're talking about today. A pattern that claims to connect, well, everything.
So how on earth does a single idea connect all these totally different fields? Well, to get that, we need to look at the theory's mathematical foundation, the core equation where this whole grand vision gets its structure.
First things first, we've got to redefine balance. The theory argues it's not about being static, like a perfectly still stack of rocks. No, instead, true balance is this dynamic rhythm. It's a process the source material calls reciprocity, which basically means a constant give and take, an ongoing calibrated adjustment just to stay centered.
And here it is, the heart of the theory, the Atlas T equation. It says that T, which stands for balance, is the product of three key things. P for proportion, that's the underlying structure. Phase, which is that kappa symbol, kappa, and that's all about timing and rhythm. And R for resonance, the stable energy of the whole system.
Now, I know that sounds super abstract, so let's bring it down to earth. Think about running a marathon. In this analogy, P, your proportion, is your ideal stride length, the best geometric design for your movement. Then you've got phase, which is your pacing and your timing, the rhythm that keeps you going without gassing out. And finally, R, resonance. That's the stable energy you hit, that state of flow that keeps you from collapsing. Balance T is when all three of those are working in perfect harmony.
Okay, so now that we have this universal equation, let's see how it applies at the micro level, right inside our own minds. The theory proposes something it calls a geometry of consciousness.
So the idea here is that our minds use this kind of symbolic language made of four basic geometric shapes. The triangle, that represents clarity and direction, like your focused attention. The circle is all about connection and continuity. Think emotional regulation and empathy. The square provides stability and structure, your boundaries and executive function. And the spiral symbolizes growth and integration, basically how we learn and adapt over time. So why does all this geometry in our heads even matter? Well, the theory suggests that finding mental balance is all about harmonizing two key states of mind, our wandering, daydreaming mind and our focused, task-oriented mind. These geometric shapes are supposedly a way to untangle the chaos and create a clear, coherent signal between them.
So if that's the micro, what about the meso level? Let's zoom out from the mind to the world we build around ourselves and see how this geometry can be expressed in an architecture that actually listens. The theory points to three great architectural archetypes, and each one embodies a piece of that core equation we talked about. First up, the pyramid. With its clear climb to a single point, it represents perfect, fixed design. It's the architectural expression of P, proportion.
Next, you've got the ziggurat. Now, unlike the smooth pyramid, its terraced steps mark a really clear rhythm, a calibrated movement over time. This makes it the perfect symbol for phase. The climb isn't instantaneous. It's a measured progression, step by step.
And finally, we have the dome. Just think of the acoustics inside a great dome. Every sound is reflected, completing this circle of awareness. It's a space that's literally designed to sustain and amplify energy, making it the physical embodiment of R, resonance.
This entire philosophy of design is really captured in one powerful line from the source material. Build not for power, but for proportion. It's a call to create our world based on harmony, not just on dominance.
So, from our minds and our buildings, the theory now takes its biggest leap of all, to the macro level, proposing a rhythm that connects the entire universe.
And this is where things get really fascinating and maybe a little unexpected. On the left, you see the Fibonacci spiral, a universal pattern of natural growth. On the right, that's a Smith chart, a super technical tool for radio engineers. The visual similarity is striking, isn't it? But the theory claims the connection is way deeper than just how it looks. So here's the kicker. That Smith chart exists for one reason, to help engineers balance proportion and phase to achieve perfect resonance for radio waves. In other words, it's a tool designed to solve the exact same equation we've been talking about. The theory is arguing that nature and high-tech engineering are using the same fundamental principles to get to stability.
This leads to this pre-wild idea of a planetary resonance grid. The theory models the Earth as a 12-sided dodecahedron with 12 harmonic zones. It even suggests that ancient sites like the pyramids of Giza or the ziggurat of Ur might actually be nodes on this grid, places that are literally tuned to this fundamental frequency.
Okay, so after this journey through the cosmos, the mind, and our cities, what's the big deal? The theory really distills all of its complexity down to one core message, one practical takeaway: this idea of atonement. The ultimate message is a really profound shift in perspective, moving away from a model of just chaotic, endless expansion and moving toward one of conscious attunement, learning to listen to and design with the natural rhythms of balance that are already woven into the fabric of the universe. And this brings us to the most personal part of the theory. It frames the human heart as the 13th node in this global system. Our own heartbeat, with its powerful electromagnetic field, becomes a personal tuning fork, capable of synchronizing our individual rhythm with the universal one.
So this leaves us with a final, provocative question for you to think about. If this universal rhythm of balance is real, what geometric pattern, a clear triangle, a connected circle, a stable square, or a growing spiral, defines the most harmonious and resonant rhythm in your own life? That might be a pattern worth looking for.